Yay! Hello, replay viewers, and welcome to the first ever Transformational Truth of TV Tarot TV. It's live. It's Tiffany Crosara here, and those of you on the replay, if you want to skip the intro and go straight to why intuitives have a problem with breakups, breakdowns, blended families, kind of experiencing them more than maybe the average Joe blogs, and how to actually turn that around in a heartbeat then, and to happiness and harmony, then go for it. Okay, so welcome. We've got lovely people joining us. Hello. Welcome to the launch of the Transformational Truth of Tarot TV. What a mouthful. My name is Tiffany Crosara, and I am an inner transformation specialist and courage catalyst. I specialize in helping intuitives that are struggling tuning into themselves because they've been trained by life for so long to be tuned into everyone but them. And what happens is they lose track of who they are, what they want, let alone how to communicate that to someone else or how to get it. So life becomes unfulfilling, as does all of the relationships. Yet you know that there is magic there. And the reason that you started the spiritual path is because you wanted that passion and that purpose and that partnerships and the magic that you know that life can offer, but somewhere along the line it got derailed. Welcome. Okay, so I help intuitives that are going through that have the reason that they came to the spiritual path in the first place actually manifest. And the way that I do that is through my work with tuition, which I will explain a little bit later, and my work with the Transformational Truth of Tarot, which is my main signature program. You can find out more at my website, tiffanycrosara.com, YouTube, Instagram, but to be honest, the main places I show up is in Facebook. Firstly, from my paid community, the Transformational Truth of Tarot, and secondly, for my free group, the Inner Transformation Group with Tiffany Crosara. Okay, so what am I going to do with you guys today? Hello, Anne. Hello, Julia. Hello, Michelle. Lovely to see you here. Please say hello to me. It really helps. I'm going live with StreamYard, so you might have to register if you want me to know your name, but if you want to stay anonymous, don't register. You can just say hello and be anonymous. That is totally fine. I would love to know how many here are intuitives. If you're an intuitive, say I in the chat box. Hi, Marie. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you here. And if you are a stepchild, you work, well, not now, hopefully this is going out to above and over 18s, but if you were a stepchild, put C down in the chat box. Okay, let's see if we can get a whole language going on. So, are you an intuitive? I. Are you a stepchild? Were you a stepchild? C. Okay. Are you a step parent? P. Now, you might be there going, I, C, P. This is all of me. You might be a spouse of a step parent. If you're a spouse of a step parent, put S. Okay. So I want to know where you are at. Okay, so we've got some intuitives raising their hands. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Sylvia. A, says Marie. That's funny. Okay, so what I'm going to do with you today is talk about this very thing. I'm going to talk about why intuitives have more breakdowns, breakups, and blended families, and how to get to happiness and harmony in a heartbeat. I'm going to share with you a little bit of my own story, how I made it through, what you need to do to actually make it through to that happiness and harmony in a heartbeat. And we'll also finish with a little meditation. So if you know anybody out there that you know needs to know this, is there any intuitives out there that you know are struggling with relationships or being a step parent or being in a step family? Then please, please, please tag them if you're in the group. I mean, to be honest, if they're not in the group, they won't know. You can't share or tag if you're coming in through my group. But if you're on my page, then please do share. You can also share it from my page, guys. Those of you that are in the groups later, don't let it come into your space now. That's the first lesson of being an intuitive. I want you to make the decision to actually tune into yourself. So let's be in that boundaried place. That is the first lesson of being an intuitive, okay? Is to give yourself the boundaries, is to make the decision that this time is here for you right now, particularly when we get to that meditation piece, okay? So I will come to comments later. I can see people sharing. Lovely, thank you. And I will come and do that after the live. I will come back to any comments. Okay, so I just want to get on and crack on with the agenda now. Okay, tag anyone or share if it's easy and you feel the fire and the moment to do so. That would be really, really, really appreciated. Okay, so I'm going to start with an explanation of what is outtuition. Outtuition is a word that I made up, so you're probably there going, what is it? So I really need to start with an explanation of that. Okay, I'm going to explain it by telling you what happens as an intuitive in your childhood. What happens is that you probably have been trained by your caregivers to tune into their needs above and beyond your own. A bit like, you better know what I expect of you, or you better know what I need from you, okay? But as a child, you can't really give your parents what they need. It's for your parents to be able to give themselves what they need, or your caregivers to give themselves what they need. But unfortunately, we are in times of generations of the wounded bringing up the wounded. So it's not really your parents' fault. Okay, this stuff goes back absolutely generations. And now we're getting to a crucial time. My goodness, with everything that's going on, it's really coming up now to rewire this shit, which is why I'm asking for shares. You probably never heard me ask so much for shares. I'm really standing strong for this message of intuition and outtuition. Okay, so you've been tuned to train, you've been trained to tune out of yourself and into others, from knee-high to a grasshopper, okay? And as you grow, those challenges or that grows with you, which gives you quite a lot of issues, okay? I don't mean like you're broken beyond repair or anything along those lines, but if you're having problems in your life, it's not the way it has to be, okay? There is something that fundamentally just needs some rewiring, all right? So I'll give you a little example through my story of transformation and how I've ended up where I am now, sat in front of this really bizarre green screen. Let's go. So I was an intuitive. I am an intuitive. I was a stepchild. I came from a broken home. I was an only child. Maybe we can put an O. If you're an only child, put an ow. An ow. Sorry, I've just read Michelle's comment. Put an O in the comments. Michelle, I'll get back to that comment. Thank you. So I was really tuned into my mum, because it was just me and my mother. And my mum, bless her, did the very best she could. But she's been brought up from a family of wounding, okay, an alcoholic mother, and that's been going down the generations. It stopped here, okay. Now, it was traumatic for me as a child, My mum had a lot of problems, bless her. So OCD is one of them, for instance. And as a child, you make a mess. So growing up, I thought her anxiety and all of her problems and her burdens were because my father had left her with this child that was wrecking her life every day just by being alive. Okay. And that's really how I felt until I grew up and I saw, hang on a minute, this isn't actually my mum. This is actually her disease, okay? And I don't need to take this personally. But as a child, the amount of shame I felt for being alive was absolutely debilitating. Okay. Whew. So that meant that my aura was weakened to a point where I didn't have any boundaries, and I became incredibly psychic because I was so tuned in, because I had to learn how to adapt to my mum's needs in order to survive. It was that intense. And so the whole thing of boundaries went down. If you are an intuitive, it is because you have a problem with boundaries. You wouldn't be able to pick up things from another person if you had good, healthy boundaries. And actually, I call it an outuitive. That's an outuitive symptom. You can be intuitive and have boundaries. Absolutely. That's the healthy side. But generally, the reason that you have become this way is because of boundary issues. Okay. So then what happened was everything came in from everywhere, all realms, everything. It was really very intense, so intense that I made a career out of it. And I was quite high up in the London circuit. I ended up writing books, winning awards, going on live TV, believe it or not. And I realized that actually all that was happening was that the whole world was built on outtuition, and I was part of the problem. I wasn't able to get this message out there because it wasn't out there. I couldn't understand what was going on with me at that time. And I did actually become, my mum married twice. I was the stepchild that wasn't really wanted. And then I became a stepmom, and I put everything I could into being the most amazing stepmom, or at least I wanted to, but it didn't happen. And it didn't happen because I had stuff in the way and my stepdaughter had stuff in the way. And it was 10 years of utter hell. I still at this point did not understand what was going on at all. And after 10 years of trying, my business at the time, I'd pulled away from, I guess, what you would say is the corporate world of psychic work. And I had launched the Transformational Truth of Tarot because I knew that it wasn't that world wasn't right, and that something needed to happen. I needed to bring back my own message and get that out there. But I didn't have the full understanding of what that message was at that time. So my business was almost happening by default. In other words, I noticed that people were having transformations, particularly in their relationships, their marriages. They'd come into the Transformational Truth of Tarot and they'd say, Tiffany, actually, this is more than just a tarot course, right? And I'd be like, uh-huh. And everybody was scratching their heads going, this stuff works. I'm getting far more than what I bargained for, but how on earth does a pack of tarot cards do this? And me, who had been working with tarot since I was 4, totally was in the same place as that. I didn't understand. So what happened was I ended up having a breakdown. It was midlife crisis. It was the day of the Brexit vote, and I'm being tuned into the collective consciousness. Yes, no boundaries. And everything that I had tried so hard for so long, and everything I had repressed for 40 years just went boom. Being tuned into that collective rage or whatever it was, wave, I think I want to say, that's the right word, that happened around Brexit, right? Maybe you feel that, like, I have a dodgy time on New Year's Eve too. There's something about the collective then. Maybe you're tuned into that too. And I got on a plane, I left my husband and my stepdaughter, and I got on a plane and I just walked around the world crying for about a year. Crying. Just before that happened, I had actually said to the universe, I want to understand why people are having this transformation, what this work is about. And as I wandered the world crying for about a year, I had nobody to tune into except myself for the first time in my life. And the answers started to come. There was no intuitive anonymous, okay? But I managed to piece bits from different courses, different books I've read, and analyze what was going on in my own life, what was happening for my husband, what was happening for my stepdaughter, and what had been happening for all my clients, and it clicked. And that is what I call outtuition. And there's 10 symptoms of outtuition. I don't have time to go into them today, but then lives over the next month address each one. So symptom number 1, emotional misunderstandings. That's what leads to your breakdowns, your breakups, and your blended families. Okay. And so what do you do in order to go from happiness, from that to happiness and harmony in a heartbeat? Number 1, you have to get clear on your stuff. What is your stuff and what is somebody else's stuff? Number 2, your ability to communicate it. That's another thing that needs to happen. And number 3 is it's not bloody easy, okay? As a outtuitive, it's not easy. If you continue to do this by yourself, well, look where that's got you. Yeah. So what needs to happen is an investment. I mean, it took me 40 years, and I've been in this world full on for since I was, as I said earlier, 4. Okay. It's when you put a group of people together and form a community that understands how intuitives work or outuitives work and have a strong structure, that is when the changes happen. And that doesn't come without investing in yourself. Okay, so you can have a bit of community here if you're in the free Facebook group, but it's nothing like the level that you get in TTT, Transformational Truth of Tarot. You may see that there is a testimonial up there on the post for you to read through. These are the sorts of results that you get. So ex-husbands that don't let you go, that are blocking your home sale and you have no money to live on, can get shifted in days. Stepchildren that you feel totally hurt by can shift days, weeks, depends on how many, how long, but it can actually totally shift. Other people have come in thinking that their children were angry with them and they needed boundaries. But actually what happened was that they'd realized that it wasn't that at all. It was the dynamic was totally needing shifting in the family. And now that's been aligned. And this was all happening through tarot and by default until I understood why it happened. Okay, so we're going to do a transformative tarot meditation. I'm going to talk to you about the difference between transformational tarot and predictive tarot. And then we'll do a transformational tarot meditation. And then I will come and look at your comments in the chat box. Okay, so first of all, the difference between transformational tarot and predictive tarot. Predictive tarot how can I say, exasperates. Yes, it exasperates out tuition. So you're tuning out of yourself into the world around you, and you're asking questions like, when will he come back to me? Or when will I get that job? You're asking for a prediction about what is going to happen in the outside world to you, okay? That is out tuition. Transformative tarot is a mirror that brings it back to you and your inner transformation. And when you take that in, that is when everything starts to transform. So one exasperates and one transforms, hence transformational truth of tarot. Okay, so we're not going to need cards or anything like that today, but we're going to do a little meditation just to help you get clear on a situation with someone right now. So that person, it might be that you have a decision to make. It may be that you have a dilemma and you're not quite sure what to do. It doesn't have to be a step family situation. It can be any situation, okay? And I just want you to bring that to mind. And if you don't have one presently, then what about in the past? Yeah, you can bring that to mind as well. And we're just going to get ready for meditation now. I'm going to try and yeah, no collapse of the green screen and no crazy Minerva kitty trying to jump on top of it either. Let's do this. Okay, so I want you just to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in and out. Really give yourself permission to be here now. Nice, deep, gorgeous breaths. Just allow everything that's been going on to just fall away off your shoulders like a cape and melt down through the earth. Lovely, gorgeous. I can feel that. Hopefully you can too. Lovely deep breaths. Okay, so I just want you to bring in the white light. Don't worry if you're like, I can't visualize, you just intend. We're just working with intention. So bring in the white light through the top of your crown. And as you breathe out, just let it go out through every single pore of your aura and just feel yourself lightening. I want you to set your intention to connect with your highest self. So just allow yourself to drift up towards the spiritual realm, the highest possible realm you can possibly imagine, and connect with your higher self. Just feel the love, breathe it in, feel the wisdom, breathe it in. Feel their support all around you. Breathe it in and breathe out. And feel the connection with your higher self. And how do they appear to you? You get a sense, a feeling, or a vision of who they are. And if you know tarot, then maybe you can put a tarot card to it. Just take a moment to connect with them now and just ask the question, what empowers me in this situation? And at the same time, I would now want you to look over behind your higher self and see the higher self of the other person. And how they appear. Maybe it surprises you. Maybe it's another tarot card or an animal or whatever is your language. And just Feel those higher selves connecting. So your higher self turns to face their higher self. And just ask the question, is what empowers me? What empowers them? What empowers them? Feel the light. Anytime you need it, bring it in, turn it up. That gorgeous white light. And then see your intention connect with those two higher selves' intention up to a gorgeous light triangle, top point of which is the highest self of all, for the highest good of all in the universe. What is that? Is it the same thing? And even if you don't have the answers, just set your intention for the highest good of all and just see that light burst out all around. And start to come back down. So giving thanks to the guides and the highest self. And slowly, gently, just letting the white light fade. Breathing deeply back into your body. Deep breaths out and deep breaths in. Breathing in lovely, new, refreshed energy, having a stretch. Whoa. Okay, how did that feel? You can open your eyes, but look at the floor first before you look at the computer. Look at that last. Oh, okay, so wonderful, lovely people. I'm going to come around to your comments, but if anybody is like, yeah, no, somebody needs to see this, please do share or tag them. Anyone you know that is an intuitive, that is struggling, or a step in a step family dynamic that is struggling. Do let me know your particular struggles. I'm here to help you, okay? Also, you will see that there is a free session link in the post, so you can apply to come through and talk it out with me, and we can look at getting a 3-step strategy together for you to go from outtuition to intuition and have harmony and happiness in a heartbeat. So if you would like that, the link is in the post. I think I might have put a banner up as well, actually. Did I do a banner? Oh, yes, here it is. Apply for your free Fire Up Intuition session with me here. Okay, now let me come to your comments and see. Okay, so we've got a lot of intuitives, a few spouses, and a few step parents as well, and stepchildren too. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I said, this is now time for you, for your comments. So please do share, ask. The more that you do, the more that you're going to get from this, as is everyone else. So don't be shy. You are in safe hands. I'm just going to take a drink of water, as should you after a meditation. So, okay, so let's have a look. The first one, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. So Sarah was a stepchild, but later in life, I've been divorced by dad and stepmom because it was, okay. I think you mean you've divorced your dad and stepmom because it was toxic. My dad didn't want to help my brother Simon, and he died a year ago today. Oh, bless your heart. What, wow. How powerful that you're on this live today, Sarah. Goodness me, I've got tingles. Oh, bless your heart. Feeling sad today and need healing, feeling abandoned. Okay. And yes, as a stepchild, you feel abandoned. You feel abandoned by at least one parent, if not both. And it sounds like you are feeling abandoned by both. And I was touching a little bit on the story of one of my clients who was probably, she was the mother of that type of situation, and her daughter felt abandoned, but she felt like her daughter was just angry at her all the time, and that made her feel like she had to protect herself. And so the walls got thicker, right? And the walls got thicker and thicker, and it was only when she came into TTT that she realized what was going on, and actually, you know, broke up with that marriage. And her child says, like, who's an adult now, says, wow, I've got my mum back in a way that I never knew. And yes, so when you are abandoned by a parent, like my father, he left when I was a child. He was totally estranged. It wasn't like I went to him for weekends or anything. I didn't know. He knew of me, I knew of him, but we had absolutely no contact. So the abandonment was pretty strong, and also abandonment from my mum, bless her, because she couldn't cope. So even if it's not physical abandonment, it's emotional abandonment as well, isn't it? And then it's like the problems are there before you were born for that dynamic to be going on. So yes, of course, it's toxic, and it's very hard when it's your family, because like I have to do damage limitation. Yes, it's not like you can choose your family. It's like, how can you moderate your family? Okay, so things that can help you, I will just give you a little tip now, Sarah, is to practice the 4 agreements or the 5 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. They form the foundation for anybody that wants to come in and work with me, because if you aren't following them or practicing them, none of us are perfect, but if you're not making the commitment to practice them, then I can't work with you. And so that's basically how life is. It's like, if we're not following those 5 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, then life can't actually work with you. Okay, one of those agreements is not to take anything personally. I will be doing more on that with my next live stream on Friday. I believe I'll bring that in then, which is at 1 p.m. BST time. So do watch along. I really don't think you're abandoned. I know it feels that way, and it gets to a place where actually we've then abandoned ourselves, and that's the main thing. It's like, okay, I'm not going to abandon myself anymore, and that's inner child work in terms of seeing yourself as the inner child that you are inside of yourself, and being able to go, okay, she never got what she needed, and I'm an adult now, I can give her what she needs. None of us got what we needed in childhood, because as children we can't speak, we can't communicate what our needs are. So it's about going, okay, I meet those needs. And I think the fact that you're here today is Simon kind of coming through and guiding you here. So he's here, he's there with you. You're not abandoned on the spiritual level, and it's time to make the decision to not abandon yourself now, because that's the good news now, is that you are an adult and that you can actually stand for yourself now, and you're healing. Bless your heart. Thank you very much for that share. Do let me know if you have any more questions. Okay, so someone, Facebook user, this is what happens if you don't register with StreamYard. I don't see your name, so thank you. I appreciate that you're looking forward to it, whoever you are, and it's cool if you want to just use that to stay anonymous. Bless your heart. Michelle, ouch, spent most of my childhood trying to guess what others wanted or needed. Yes, or more to the point, what I needed to make them happy and get them to love me. Absolutely. Classic case of outuition. Thank you for that share. I'm sure we can all resonate with that, Michelle, particularly like if you read the case study above of Sylvie, you'll be nodding along with that. So yes, absolutely, hear you. I hear you. And you were so brave in sharing your story. It really attracted it to, me to you. So this is something about being vulnerable and how we can then connect from there. Bless your heart. So Michelle says, I always feel like that around New Year's Eve. I wonder how many people here feel like crazy on New Year's Eve. My husband goes, it's like Tiffany's got the whole year of PMT for everyone in the world at at once on New Year's Eve. Anyone else feel me? Put N in the chat box if you do. Such a collective, desperate, wanting to change things kind of energy that's unboundaried. It makes for chaos and turmoil for intuitives, empathy, and introverts. Yes, and it's interesting how that's founded as well, because New Year's Eve was, well, January the 1st, or the calendar was made by Julius Caesar to declare war on Galilee. And so the streets practically ran with blood. They ran red. And then the Romans came and it was like orgy time. And yeah, just as you say, that kind of crazy hedonistic energy that has been there since Roman days. It's a long time. And this is what I'm saying about how, you know, the sins of the fathers come down the lines. They come down the ancestral generations. And if only the Native Americans weren't conquered, you know, because the Native Americans thought of the 7 generations after this one. They didn't take any action that was going to have a reaction for those 7 generations afterwards. And that's really what I'm passionate for. This is what we stand for here in this time now. I think so many of us are feeling that the buck stops here. And now's the time to do the work. Thank you so much for that comment, Michelle. Bless your heart. Yay! Happy Canada Day from Cancun, Mexico. Hello, Elise. It's Canada Day. Is it now? This is interesting to me because I have quite a few clients in Canada. I have quite a strong connection with Canada, and also Cancun, Mexico. I did a retreat there at the beginning of the year, well, in Tulum, which is just down the road. If you've never been to Tulum, Elise, get you back to Tulum. I'm so jealous right now. How the heck did you get there in lockdown? That's what I want to know. Amazing. Okay, Marie says, yeah, this is classic. My partner is feeling very disconnected from my kids. So Marie's an S, so she's a spouse of a stepfather, okay? This didn't used to be the case. We're all together, 6 of us in a small house and currently shielding, which isn't helping. Ouch. Kids are all grown up now, but we seem to be stuck, okay? So when, you know, I've got very small amount to get on here, Marie. I would suggest that you do come forward and put in for to speak with me, because it's very little what I can do and how I can help you here. But I do expect that you are caught in the drama triangle, which is actually rife for that type of situation. And it sounds like you're in a pressure cooker now. So we could make a 3-step plan that you could start implementing today to get some different results, but I cannot go into this enough on a live. So I'm going to ask you to actually click the link and apply to come through for a chat with me, okay? And we'll see what we can do from there. Yes, okay. But generally speaking, it's typical, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing that it didn't used to be the case. So this is why I can't really talk into it, Marie, because I need to know what happened. But generally speaking, with step families, you know, the step adult and the step child don't choose each other. So it's, and there's stuff. The step adult may well have been a step child and had abandonment, like I was. The stepchild has definitely had abandonment. And then you put them together, you haven't chosen each other. It isn't a natural relationship. And all the unhealed inner child stuff hits the bloody fan. I had no idea how much unhealed, which sounds silly now, but I didn't have a clue just how much unhealed inner child stuff was going on in me until I became a stepmom. So, you know, come through, Marie, and we'll work something through. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that's right. 45 minutes from Tulum. I'm trying to decide if I should take the risk to go. You absolutely should. Don't sue me, but you don't want to miss Tulum. Okay. Amazing. You have managed to get there. That's fantastic. Okay, thank you all so much for being here. And like I said, please do share if you've enjoyed this content, if you feel like there's somebody that needs to know it. And do come through, click the link, come through, apply to have a chat with me, and let's see what we can do to start getting this going the right way. It's really flipping important. The buck stops here with us, and we start to actually be able to get to that place of knowing that we're worthy, knowing that the real pandemic in the world is not corona. Corona is or COVID is a symptom of low self-esteem. And that is the problem that we've had going down the generations. And that is what I mean by the buck has to stop here. And then when it does, my God, that is when we have a new world. So lots of love to you all. And I'll be back. I'll be back on Friday at 1 p.m. And I hope meditation was good for you. I forgot to ask about the meditation. So let me just say that when you've got the right answer, it's the same for you as it is for somebody else's higher self, as it is for the all. So you cannot empower someone else by disempowering yourself. I'll leave you with that thought and see what happened in your meditation. And if you didn't get the same answer for all three, then again, come through and book in for an inner transformation, fire up your intuition session chat with me. Lots of love to you.